Hey there, guys. So I want to thank you for joining today's live stream. So hopefully we won't have issues with audio today. I think I've made sure that everything is working properly this time. So we shouldn't have that issue, but if we do, just feel free to leave a comment or anything if there's any issues with the audio. But as far as things that need to be discussed before we get started, I do want to, of course, mention my website as always. My website is bponlinefitness.com. I've got it at the bottom right left corner here on the presentation. So basically, on my website, you can find out a ton of different information on online fitness coaching. You can also check out a bunch of different resources. I do have a fitness blog that I try to keep updated every week. I also have an email newsletter that you can sign up for when you go to scroll to the bottom of the page. You can sign up for the email newsletter. There is also a way for you to book your free consultation with me to discuss your goals and to schedule your, well, of course, to schedule your consultation, but to talk to me about your goals and basically discuss how the online coaching program works and how I can help you reach your goals with that. So bunch of different resources there. If you do want to learn a little bit more information, you can go to my website. I do try to put some detailed information on there about how online coaching works. But if you're interested in learning more and want to talk to me one on one, you can schedule your consultation with me and we'll discuss your goals and we'll determine if online fitness coaching is the right choice for you. So definitely check that out. I've got it at the bottom left corner here, bponlinefitness.com. Again, there's a ton of things you can check out there. You can also, I do want to mention too, you can also go to, when you look through sort of the program information, so the first link that you click when you click the hamburger button at the top of the corner of the page, you click basically the section that talks about program design. When you go through there, if you scroll down through there, there is a place where you can go to live streams. And when you get to live streams, it'll basically take you to my YouTube page where I have all of my previous live streams that I post. I do have other videos I post there, but if you do want to check out other live streams I've done, you can check those out there as well. I did want to mention that. Um, but with all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get into today's topic, which is tracking progress beyond the scale. So this is a little bit different and something new that is somewhat unique to what I've discussed as far as in a live stream. So basically, what we're going to discuss today is ways that you can sort of gauge your progress outside of focusing primarily on the weight scale. And there are so many various aspects to tracking progress outside the scale that you may not be aware of. And that's basically what we're going to talk about today. So, table of contents here, what we're going to sort of overview today is talk about non-scale victories, body composition changes, physical strength and endurance, energy levels and vitality, mental health, lifestyle habits, nutrition achievements, and overall quality of life. So these are different points that we're going to go over today when it comes to tracking beyond the scale. So let's go ahead and get started with talking about non-scale victories. So what do we mean by non-scale victories? Non-scale victories basically refers to the positive changes or achievements related to health, fitness, and well-being that are not directly tied to changes in body weight. These victories focus on various aspects of overall health and fitness progress beyond simply seeing a lower number on the scale. NSVs, or non-scale victories, are important because they provide additional motivation and encouragement on the journey toward better health and well being, and they can help individuals stay committed to their goals even when the scale may not reflect immediate changes. So, when we're talking about non scale victories, this is something that I do discuss a lot of times when I'm speaking to any sort of potential client that I'd talk to on a consultation or even my clients in general. And that is basically keeping track beyond the scale and not putting all of your focus on body weight. Now, there's various different ways that you can do this. A lot of times, I always mention that you can do measurements, especially if you're focusing on muscle gain. Measuring your body and measuring your arms, different portions of your body can really show growth rather than just focusing on body weight on the scale. Because body weight is overall just a general reference point. It doesn't give you that much detailed information on if you're making progress or not. You can see progress in various other forms outside of just body weight. So, again, we're going to expand upon this as we talk through this stream. So, keep in mind that what I'm discussing about non-scale victories is just tracking beyond the scale, finding different ways to help you keep you motivated on your fitness journey as well as to help encourage you towards reaching your goal. So the first thing we're going to sort of discuss when it comes to non-scale victories, and I know I just mentioned a little bit about measurements, but body composition changes is one thing that you can think about when you're discussing, basically reaching your goal beyond focusing on the scale. So, body composition refers to proportions of fat, muscle, bone, and other tissues that make up the body. Tracking changes in body composition involves assessing alterations in the distribution and the amount of these different components. So, one common goal of tracking body composition changes is to reduce fat mass. Decreases in fat mass can be achieved through a combination of dietary changes, such as calorie control and nutrient dense eating, regular physical activity, including both cardiovascular exercise and strength training, and lifestyle modifications. Increasing muscle mass is another important aspect of changing body composition, especially for individuals looking to improve strength, athletic performance, and overall physical appearance. Muscle mass can be increased through resistance training exercises that target different muscle groups as well as adequate protein intake to support muscle growth and repair. So, when it comes to body composition changes, this is stuff that you can notice pretty much as you progress through your journey, whether you're focusing on helping to reduce fat mass or whether you're focusing on building more muscle. You can notice the difference in composition as you stay consistent towards your goal. So basically, when we're talking about body composition changes, it's more of basically physical changes that you can notice on your body. This is basically one of the most important aspects when tracking your victories on the scale, because when you notice different changes in your body, of course that means that you are on the right track and that you are reaching your goal. So keep that in mind. Now, it could be maybe minor changes, but if you're noticing minor changes and those changes are reflective of what you're pursuing, then you're on the right track. So keep in mind different changes in your appearance as you're working towards that specific goal. And that's what I'm basically trying to explain here when we're talking about body composition changes, is to monitor different parts of your body and how they are changing based on working out daily, or nutrition, your diet, what you're doing daily, what is helping to make those changes. Another thing is physical strength and endurance. This is something that I noticed myself whenever I had started really getting serious about weightlifting, really getting serious about building muscle, is this change. And you're going to notice this, and it's going to really hit you when you do notice this change. Because when you notice yourself getting stronger, it is a very, I would say, a euphoric feeling. Noticing that you're gradually getting stronger as you are weightlifting. There's really no other feeling like that. So, tracking physical strength and endurance beyond the scale involves monitoring and assessing improvements in muscular strength. Cardiovascular endurance can also be one thing as well, and overall physical performance. While changes in body weight and composition can provide valuable insights into fitness progress, focusing on strength and endurance offers a more comprehensive understanding of physical capabilities and overall fitness levels. So keep track of strength training workouts, recording key metrics such as the amount of weight lifted, number of repetitions performed, and progressions in exercise difficulty. This is something I do daily when I go into my workouts. I'm always tracking each little detail, whether it be the amount of reps that I'm performing, the sets that I'm performing, and also the amount of weight that I'm lifting. That's also essential as well. And I may not notice this, but when I look back at some other, sort of days that I've been tracking weight or been tracking sort of my metrics, I notice when I'm looking at that and recording it that I have gotten stronger because I've been gradually increasing my weight. I can lift more now than I did before. So that's something, the best way to really notice that. And of course, you could notice it even when you're not tracking. However, when you're tracking, you do have a better gauge of where you're going and what direction you're going versus not tracking specifically what you're doing. But when you're keeping track of that, you're really seeing the progression that you're making. And it's easy to do this. All you have to do is, you can either write it down physically, have a notepad with you, or you use the notes app on your phone and just basically the way that I do it is I graph it and I put, what workout I'm doing that day, and then I'll put my sets and reps for that workout, and then the amount of weight that I lifted that day. That's all you got to do for each workout that you do. Just track that, and you'll be able to see over time what you need to do in order to, progress further. So it gives you a good indicator of where you're at. So periodically, next thing here, periodically testing 1 rep max, the maximum amount of weight that can be lifted for a single repetition for key strength training exercises, provides a benchmark for tracking strength gains. So again, once you're keeping track of this, you're starting to notice changes, and you will notice changes yourself as you're lifting these weights because you've been gradually progressing to, reach this, you know, milestone basically. Like, for example, whenever I started really doing weightlifting, I used to always think that 30 pounds was heavy. Now, that don't really, 30 pounds doesn't sound heavy when you think about it, but whenever, at the time when I was lifting dumbbells and I was lifting 30 pounds, I always thought those were really heavy, and there would be no way that I could, progress to at least 50 pounds. But over time, once I've adjusted to those weights and I've become comfortable with those weights, and then progressing forward, I've noticed that 30 pounds are lighter because I've gained that strength. And I've noticed that the more that I worked with that weight and got comfortable with that weight and gradually progressed forward, that I was gaining strength because I was giving my body, enough time to adapt to that weight. So keeping track of that is important. It's a really great indicator of your progress and a really great indicator of how you're making victories beyond the scale. So, mental health. Another thing is mental health. This is something I've noticed myself as well. So, tracking mental health beyond the scale involves monitoring and assessing various aspects of physiological well being and emotional resilience. While traditional methods of tracking progress often focus on physical metrics like weight or body composition, paying attention to mental health indicators provide valuable insights into overall wellness and quality of life. Noticeable shifts in your overall mood, such as feeling happier, more content, or less irritable, can be significant non scale victories you might find yourself experiencing more frequent moments of joy or feeling more resilient in the face of challenges. So this is just one thing that naturally, comes with, bettering yourself physically. Is it helps to is basically another byproduct of that is that it's helping you mentally as well. Because you are facing challenges on your body, you are building more strength mentally at the same time. So you'll notice those difference in how you're feeling because you gain a little bit more confidence in yourself. not only because you look better physically, but you've built more strength mentally because you've been enduring, lifting heavier weights or, doing cardio for a certain amount of time. You're basically getting past these, physical milestones that's leading into, helping with your mental health as well. Of course, I do want to sort of put a pin here as well. If you do struggle with any mental health issues or anything of that sort, you do, of course, need to seek out any, any kind of, professional help. If you do have very, significant mental health issues, I do want to mention that in advance, because this is not a cure for, specifically for, mental health in itself. If you do have significant mental health issues, you do need to seek somebody professionally. That is definitely recommended. But what I'm trying to, basically mention here is that physical health really is basically linked together with mental health as well, and that you're going to notice a very significant change when you place emphasis on your physical health and it influencing your mental health. So, lifestyle habits. This is another thing that you'll notice that is making a change once you start to build the habit of weightlifting. And this is very significant. And when it comes, again, this kind of goes back into mental health. When you're changing a physical aspect of your body, like you're trying to build muscle, you're trying to gain these better habits, it's in turn going to bleed into every part of your life. Not in a bad way, in a very productive and good way, because you are focusing on improving your habits. Weightlifting is a form of a good habit. So when you are consistently doing a good habit such as that, you are instantly wanting to try other areas and find other areas that you can improve in your life. So your overall lifestyle habits are going to change. So hydration. So this is kind of the same thing for me. A lot of this stuff I kind of keep track of after I sort of got into the rhythm of, tracking, my weightlifting. Then there was other things, healthy that I wanted to try to change. Hydration was one of them. Sleep habits is another thing that I've made a focus on, as well as eating. So, it's naturally going to compound when you have a habit that you're working on consistently. That habit is going to basically lead you into other positive habits. So, hydration, tracking improvements in hydration, such as drinking more water throughout the day or reducing consumption of sugary beverages, can be a significant non scale victory of overall health. You're tracking hydration and you're noticing difference with how much water you're drinking. That is an improvement. That is a healthy improvement, beyond, beyond just the weight scale, beyond just body composition itself. Even if it's something small, it's still a progression. You're still progressing. Sleep habits, improving your sleep habits, such as establishing a regular sleep schedule, creating a calming bedtime routine, and reducing screen time before bed, are valuable non-scale victories for overall well-being. If you're tracking your sleep and you're noticing that you're getting the recommended amount of sleep per night, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If you are, being consistent with your sleep schedule, going to bed at this time and then waking up this time, you're making improvements in your habits, your lifestyle. Mindful eating, practicing mindful eating, such as paying attention to hunger and fullness cues, savoring each bite, and eating without distractions, can lead to a healthier relationship with food and promote better digestion. Keeping being mindful of what you're eating is another factor. But naturally, when you have one habit that's positive and you are making improvements of that habit, it's going to go into other areas of your life, is what I'm trying to mention here. So, whether it be weightlifting or exercising in general, you're going to notice that you're wanting to improve other parts of your life when you build a good habit. Nutrition achievements. So, this is another thing that you can keep in mind beyond the scale. No matter what your goal is you're focusing on, if you're noticing changes in the foods that you're eating and, noticing anything like that, you're really going to notice improvements beyond the scale here as well. So nutrition achievements. So nutrition achievements as non-skill victories encompass positive changes and milestones related to dietary habits, food choices, and nutritional intake. These achievements are significant markers of progress on the journey toward improved health and well being, regardless of changes in body weight. Achieving a balanced macronutrient intake is another nutrition achievement that can be celebrated. This involves consuming appropriate proportions of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats to meet individual dietary needs and goals. Tracking macronutrient intake and achieving a balance that supports energy levels, muscle recovery, and overall well being reflects a commitment to optimizing traditional intake for improved health and performance. Making nutrient rich food swaps is a non skill victory that involves replacing less nutritious foods for healthy alternatives without sacrificing taste or satisfaction. For example, swapping sugary beverages for water or herbal tea, replacing refined grains with whole grains, or choosing healthier cooking methods such as baking or grilling instead of frying. So, if you're noticing any changes, such as, you've been staying away from eating sweets, you've been, drinking more water, or you've been, really focused on nutrition rich foods or nutrient rich foods in your diet, that is still considered an achievement. That is still considered as a victory. So take that into consideration. If you've been consistently sticking to something with, if it relates to balancing your macros, it relates, anything to your diet, if you're eating more vegetables, if you're, you know, really focusing on getting a certain amount of protein a day, that is still an improvement. That is still an achievement. If you've been consistently doing that and you are noticing changes, that is an achievement in itself. So keep in mind, again, there's so many ways that you can track just beyond the scale. If you're making small changes, that's all that matters. And those small changes, once you sort of get adjusted to those small changes, you're going to want to improve in other areas of your life. So just keep that in mind. So the last one here that we're really going to discuss is the improvement in quality of life. So improvements in overall quality of life serve as significant non-scale victories that extend beyond changes in physical appearance or body weight. These victories encompass enhancements in various aspects of well-being, including physical, mental, and emotional wellness, social relationships, and overall life satisfaction. So, non skill victories in physical health reflect improvements in physical well being, such as increased energy levels, enhanced vitality, reduced risk of chronic diseases, achieving milestones such as improved cardiovascular fitness, better flexibility, mobility, and optimal blood pressure and cholesterol levels contribute to a higher quality of life, supporting overall health and longevity. NSVs, or non-skill victories in mental health, mental and emotional well-being, involve positive changes in mood, stress management, and resilience. Individuals may experience reduced feelings of anxiety or depression, increased feelings of happiness and contentment, and improved coping mechanisms for managing life's challenges. These improvements contribute to greater emotional balance, physiological resilience, and overall mental wellness. So, we're talking about overall quality of life. This is basically talking about the improvements that you're making that you may not necessarily see, such as, you're reducing your risk for chronic diseases as you're, building a healthy, physical activity routine, or building a healthy, dietary routine. The same can be said if you're noticing better flexibility and mobility. That is an improvement in quality of life and enjoying life. Same thing, going back to mental and emotional well being. If you're noticing positive changes in your mood and you're noticing your stress is not as bad as it used to be, and you're being able to cope with various, aspects of life a little bit better, then that improvement in quality of life is happening because you're making better and healthier habits, whether it be physical health, focusing on physical exercise, whether it be eating better, whether it be being more hydrated, whether it be, sleeping better, having proper recovery and rest. You're going to notice those changes as well. And that is still considered an example of a non scale victory. It's something that, you can notice without having to rely on a weight scale. So thank you guys. I hope that you found this helpful and valuable. I hope this is information sort of resonated with you and allowed you to really think about different aspects of your journey. Even if you're not seeing progress when you are, tracking your weight, there are so many other indicators that you can look at that will tell you exactly if you are progressing. And no matter what, as long as you are moving in the right direction, you are really progressing towards your goal. Sometimes it takes longer than, so for some people, they naturally reach the goal a little bit faster, and some people, it takes a little bit longer to get there. That doesn't mean you're not progressing. Progress is basically what you really need to focus on more than anything. So, thank you guys again for taking the time to watch this live stream. I hope that you found it helpful and valuable as always. If you do have any feedback, you can feel free to share it with me as a comment, or you can send me a message as well here on Facebook. Again, I do want to mention my website. It's bponlinefitness.com. Ton of great information there. If you want to learn more about online coaching, definitely check it out. But with all that being said, guys, that's all I have for you today. I do have another live stream coming up next Wednesday that is going to be talking a little bit about habits, habit formation, and it's kind of going to be an extension of what I discussed today. So definitely check out for that. But that's all I have for you guys today. And I will see you guys again in the next live stream. So thank you guys.